The man everyone forgot, until life remembered him. There is a form of loneliness that cannot be measured in distance. It is measured in gazes that pass through you as if you were glass, in words that never arrive, in silences so deep that you begin to doubt whether your voice still works. Michael Bennett discovered this loneliness at 32 years old, not by choice, not by accident, but because the world decided he no longer mattered. A mistake, an accusation, a lie well told at the right time, and suddenly he ceased to exist. Friends blocked his number. The company erased his name from the boards. The woman who swore to stand by his side vanished before he could even explain. No one wanted to hear his version. No one investigated, no one cared. Michael became invisible, a ghost walking among people who pretended not to see him. But here is the truth about ghosts. They do not need to be seen to exist, and some of them learn to inhabit silence in a way the world could never imagine. This is the story of a man everyone forgot, until the day life decided to remember him, and when that happened, no one was prepared. Michael Bennett had always been a man of simple routines and clear purposes. He woke at 6 in the morning, made black coffee without sugar, opened the windows of his small apartment in the northeast, and let the morning light enter slowly, like someone who respects the timing of things. He worked as a project manager at a tech company. He was not the most ambitious, not the most talkative, but he was reliable. He delivered what he promised. He solved problems that others created. His colleagues respected him. His subordinates admired him. His boss considered him essential. Michael had a life that worked. It was not spectacular. It was not in the spotlight, but it was his, and that was enough. He had been dating Sarah for 3 years. She was a lawyer, intelligent, strong, ambitious in a way he admired without envying. They talked about the future, about their own house, about trips they would take when they had time. He had friends, not many, but the right ones. Jake, a friend since college. Derek, a co-worker who became a brother over beers. Rachel, the neighbor upstairs who always borrowed sugar and returned it with cake. His life was normal, comfortable, predictable, and it was precisely for this reason that he never imagined everything could crumble in a single morning. Because Michael believed in a lie that many of us believe, that if you are good, if you are honest, if you do the right thing, you will be safe. Life does not work that way, and he was about to learn this in the most brutal way possible. The meeting began like all the others. Glass conference room on the 12th floor. Hot coffee in disposable cups. PowerPoint presentations that no one really read. Michael was there because he always was. Reliable, present, necessary. The project was important. A management system for a major client. Tight deadline. High expectations. But Michael had navigated these waters before. He presented his timeline, detailed risks, proposed solutions, did his job. Robert, the commercial director, smiled. That smile that did not reach his eyes. Perfect, Michael. As always, you are the piece that holds everything together. Michael nodded, humble. He never liked the spotlight. The meeting ended. Everyone left. Michael stayed behind, organizing papers, saving files. That is when he saw it. An email open on Robert's laptop screen, which he had left on. Michael did not want to read it. It was not his style, but the subject caught his attention. Competing proposal. Privileged information. He approached, read the first lines. His blood froze. Robert was selling confidential project information to a competitor. Figures, strategies, technical details, Everything Michael had built was being negotiated in the shadows. Michael knew what this meant, knew he should act, but he also knew that Robert was untouchable, friend of the CEO, godfather to the president's son. Still, he did what he thought was right. He documented everything, took screenshots, saved evidence, and sent an anonymous report to the compliance department. He believed in justice. He believed that truth mattered. He was wrong, because 2 days later Michael was called to an emergency meeting, and when he entered the room, there were 7 people looking at him with expressions he had never seen before. It was not concern, it was disgust. "Michael, do you know why you are here?" The voice belonged to the HR director. Neutral, professional, cold as a scalpel. He shook his head, genuinely confused. "We have received a serious complaint about you." The floor seemed to tilt beneath his feet. What kind of complaint? Robert was there, sitting at the back of the room, arms crossed, hard gaze. The director slid a folder across the table. "You are being accused of selling confidential company information to competitors. There is evidence, emails sent from your computer, suspicious financial movements in your account." Michael opened his mouth. No sound came out. "This is a lie. This is impossible. There is proof, Michael." "False proof. Someone is framing me." The company lawyer leaned forward. "Mr. Bennett, I suggest you cooperate. If you admit it, we can resolve this discreetly. You resign, sign an agreement, and we will not involve the authorities." Michael felt his throat close. "I did not do anything. I reported this. I was the one who sent the report." The director exchanged glances with the lawyer. "There is no report from you in our systems, because it was anonymous. But I have proof. I have..." He remembered. "The screenshots. Everything was on his laptop, my computer. It is all there." The IT technician spoke for the first time. "We checked your computer. We found the incriminating emails, but no evidence of what you are claiming." Michael understood then. Someone had accessed his machine, planted evidence, deleted his defenses. Robert had anticipated him. "Please," Michael whispered. "Someone set me up. You need to investigate." "We already investigated," the director interrupted. "And the conclusion is clear. You have until the end of the day to collect your belongings. Starting Monday, your access will be revoked. We are being generous by not involving the police." Michael looked around the room. No one defended him. No one hesitated. No one doubted. He was convicted in 15 minutes. And when he left that room, he was no longer Michael Bennett, respected manager. He was Michael Bennett, traitor, and the news spread faster than he could walk. The first thing Michael did was call Sarah. She did not answer. He called again and again and again. On the 7th attempt, she answered. "Michael, I am in a meeting." "Sarah, I need to talk to you. Something happened at work. They accused me of..." "I know." Silence. "You know?" "Robert called me. He told me everything. He lied, Sarah. He is framing me because I discovered that..." "Michael, stop." Her voice was different, distant, as if she had already made a decision. "I cannot deal with this right now. My career is taking off. I cannot be associated with this. Associated with this. Sarah, it is me. You know me. You know who I am." "I thought I did." The words cut deeper than any blade. "Do not call me anymore, Michael. I need space." She hung up. He stood there, stopped in the middle of the street, holding the phone as if he could rescue the call from the void. He could not. Friends were next. Jake responded with a short message. "Man, this is heavy. I need to think." Derek blocked his number without explanation. Rachel stopped borrowing sugar, stopped waving in the hallway, walked past him as if he were a stain on the wall. Michael tried to explain, tried to show his innocence, tried to gather evidence, but the narrative was already constructed. Robert was convincing, charismatic, powerful. And Michael? Michael was just an ordinary man trying to shout against a hurricane. Social media was cruel. Someone leaked the story. His name was exposed. People he had never met judged him in venomous comments. Traitor, pathetic. I hope you never get another job. He tried to defend himself online. Each of his posts was ignored or ridiculed. He was guilty, and nothing he said would change that. In 2 weeks, Michael lost everything: job, girlfriend, friends, reputation. He became a man everyone forgot, not because he died, but because they decided he did not deserve to be remembered. And then Michael did the only thing left to him. He disappeared. Michael did not leave home for 12 days. He locked the doors, closed the curtains, turned off his phone. He lived on delivery and silence. The bills began to arrive: rent, water, electricity, internet. He had savings, but they would not last forever. He needed a job. But how to get one when your name was tarnished? Michael sent resumes, dozens, then hundreds. The responses were always the same: your profile does not fit at this time, or worse, no response. He discovered that Robert had made sure his termination for cause was listed in all professional records, and the story of betrayal had spread throughout the industry. Michael Bennett was untouchable, not in the sense of power, in the sense of leprosy. One night, he was in the kitchen, looking at the empty glass of cheap whiskey, thinking about filling it again, thinking about not stopping. The phone rang. It was an unknown number. He answered. "Hello? Michael Bennett?" "Yes. My name is Helen. I am a recruiter. I saw your resume." His heart jumped. "I have an opening. Nothing glamorous. Administrative assistant. Basic salary. But it is a start." Michael closed his eyes, felt something he had not felt in weeks. "Hope? I accept. When can I start?" There was a pause. "Before that, I need to confirm some references. You worked at TechVision, right?" "Yes. I will call them. It is standard procedure." And then Michael understood. She would call. They would tell the story, and the position would disappear. "Thank you for the opportunity," he said, and hung up. He did not wait for the call back, because he knew it would never come. That night, Michael looked at the bathroom mirror. Deep circles under his eyes. Unshaven. Eyes without light. He did not recognize the reflected man. And then he thought, if I truly disappeared, would anyone notice? The answer was obvious. No, but it was in this moment of total darkness that something strange happened. Michael did not collapse. He did not break. He stood there, looking at his own reflection, and asked a different question. If no one is watching, who can I become? And for the first time in weeks, he felt something beyond despair. He felt curiosity. Michael started small, very small. He had no money for big changes, no network of contacts, no sponsorship. He only had time and anger, and a silent stubbornness he did not even know he possessed. He started online. If no one would hire him, he would create his own path. Michael had skills: project management, organization, problem solving. He had built entire systems from scratch. So he created a freelance profile. No photo, no real name, just a pseudonym, M. Davis. The first weeks were humiliating. He accepted jobs that paid $20, $30, small tasks that other freelancers discarded, document formatting, spreadsheet organization, basic research. But he did each job as if it were for a CEO. He paid attention to details, delivered before the deadline, asked if there was anything more he could do, and slowly, very slowly, clients began to notice. Reviews improved, recommendations came, prices went up. Michael was not earning much, but he was earning enough to pay rent, and more importantly, he was earning something no one could take from him: purpose. He woke at 5 in the morning, worked until midnight, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. Each completed project was proof to himself. They said I was worthless. They were wrong. He studied in his spare time, online courses, free books, YouTube videos. He learned design, programming, digital marketing, skills that no one could erase from a record, skills that lived in him. 3 months later, Michael had a portfolio, small but real. And then something unexpected happened. One of his clients, a startup entrepreneur named Andrew, sent a message. You are good, really good. If you ever want to work in person, let me know. I need someone like you on my team. Michael read the message 5 times. He did not respond immediately, because he knew that if he gave his real name, everything would crumble again. But something had changed inside him. He was no longer running from shame. He was building something bigger than it. And for the first time since everything collapsed, Michael allowed himself to smile. A small smile, tired, but real. He had not won yet, but he had not been defeated either. And that, somehow, was everything. And so 6 months passed since the day Michael was erased. He now had 15 regular clients, small entrepreneurs, startups, even an NGO that worked with education. None of them knew who he really was, and that was liberating. Michael noticed something curious. Without a face, without a story, without a past, he was judged only by what he delivered. And he delivered. But not everything was easy. There was a big project. A medium-sized company needed a complete process management system. The payment would be enough for Michael to breathe comfortably for 3 months. He applied, competed with dozens of other freelancers, and won. Michael worked 20 hours a day for 3 weeks. Process maps, automations, training. He delivered not just what was requested but beyond. The client was satisfied, very satisfied, and then came the final meeting via video call. Your work is impeccable. We want to hire you full-time, but before that, we need an in-person meeting, just a formality. Michael felt his stomach turn. May I ask why? I have been working remotely without problems. Internal policy. We need to meet all collaborators personally. Nothing major. It was a trap of fate. If he went, if he revealed his name, if they did an online search of him, everything would crumble. Michael thanked them, said he would think about it, and then declined the proposal. Lost 3 months of salary, but protected his identity and continued. Small victories came in unexpected forms. A client, owner of an online bookstore, sent a message. I do not know who you are, but you saved my business. Thank you. Michael read that 3 times. He had not saved any lives, had not cured any diseases, just organized processes and created systems. But for her it mattered, and he realized perhaps that was enough. Perhaps he did not need to be remembered by thousands. Perhaps it was enough to be remembered by those he truly helped. It was during this period that Michael began to walk again, not because he needed to, but because he wanted to feel the world outside the apartment. He walked through the park at dawn, watched people running, children playing, couples holding hands. He was invisible there too, but this time it was a chosen invisibility, and that made all the difference. One morning, he saw a scene that paralyzed him. A man fallen on the sidewalk, clearly homeless. People walked by. No one stopped. Michael approached. "Are you okay?" The man looked at him, tired eyes, but kind. "I am. Just tired." Michael bought coffee and bread, sat beside him, did not say much, just was present. Before leaving, the man said, "Thank you for seeing me." Michael nodded, because he knew exactly what that meant. To be seen, to be remembered, to be real. And in that moment, he decided something. He would return, not to be recognized, not to be avenged, but to remind others that they also mattered. Because if he had learned anything in these months of darkness, it was this: no one should be forgotten. And if the world had forgotten him, he would make sure to remember others. And so, 1 year passed. 365 days since Michael was erased. He was surviving, but surviving was not living. Bills were paid, work was constant, but Michael felt an emptiness that no project filled. Loneliness, not physical loneliness. He had been alone for months, but emotional loneliness, the lack of connection, of recognition, of belonging. He worked in silence, lived in silence, and sometimes in the middle of the night, he woke up sweating with the same question hammering his mind: will it always be like this? It was on one of those nights that Michael did something he swore he would never do. He opened social media, searched for the names: Sarah, Jake, Derek, Robert. Sarah was engaged, radiant smile in the photos, white dress, man in a suit beside her, comments celebrating the perfect couple. Michael closed the page before feeling anything. Jake had been promoted, Director of Operations, photo on LinkedIn with motivational caption about hard work and dedication. Derek was traveling, beaches, mountains, bars, life moving on without pause. And Robert was CEO. Tech Vision had grown, merger with another company, international investment, and Robert was the face of success. Interviews, awards, lectures about business ethics. Michael felt anger rising. That man had destroyed his life, and now he was celebrated. He closed the laptop forcefully, ran his hand through his hair, and for the first time in months cried, not from sadness, from exhaustion, from injustice, from being tired of pretending everything was okay. Michael spent the following days in a fog. He did not work, did not eat properly, just existed. It was the bookstore owner who brought him back. She sent a message. "M, are you okay? It has been days since you responded. I hope everything is all right." Michael looked at the message. Someone had noticed his absence. Someone cared. He responded, "I am. Just needed some time. I understand, but know that you make a difference. To me, to many people." Michael read that and realized something. He could not control what Robert did, could not erase the injustice, could not force the world to see him, but he could choose to continue, not for revenge, not for recognition, but because giving up would be giving Robert what he wanted. His final silence. Michael got up, washed his face, opened the laptop, and returned to work, not because he was healed, but because he decided that healing would come on the journey, not at the destination. And sometimes, continuing is the only victory that matters. 2 years passed. Michael barely recognized the man he was when everything collapsed. He now had a small agency. Nothing official, nothing registered, but he had a team. 3 freelancers he had met online and who worked under his coordination. They did not know his real name, did not know his story, but they trusted him. Because Michael had become someone trustworthy, he managed complex projects now, consulting for medium-sized companies, automated systems, growth strategies, all remotely, all under a pseudonym, and it worked. Michael had learned something crucial. He did not need the system that rejected him. He could build his own system. But more important than that, he had changed internally. He was no longer the man who begged for validation, who needed to be seen to feel real. He had found strength in anonymity, had found dignity in silent effort, and had found peace in the idea that not every victory needs an audience. It was during this period that Michael received an unusual invitation. One of his clients, an entrepreneur named Andrew, asked to meet in person. I know you value your privacy, but I am launching a big project, and I want you leading it, in person, with all the credits. You deserve to be recognized." Michael hesitated. He had spent 2 years building this new life, this new identity. Revealing himself would be risky, but would it also be liberating? He was not sure. He thought for days, and then realized the fear he felt was not of being discovered. It was of going back to the world that had destroyed him, going back to depending on systems that could crumble, going back to being vulnerable. Michael declined the offer, but this time it was not out of fear. It was by choice. He had built something no one could take away, and he was not willing to risk that for recognition. Recognition, he realized, was false currency. What mattered was impact, and he was making an impact every day, in silence, without spotlights. And that was enough, or at least he believed it was, until he received a message that would change everything. It was from a corporate address. Subject: consulting opportunity, Tech Vision. Michael froze. Tech Vision, the company that had destroyed him. He opened the email. "Dear M. Davis, we were recommended by a mutual client. We are going through internal restructuring and need an external consultant specialized in process management. Your portfolio is impressive. We would like to discuss a possible collaboration. Sincerely, Management Department, Tech Vision." Michael read the email 3 times. The universe had a sense of humor or a sense of justice. He did not know which. But there was one thing he knew. He was no longer the victim they had created, and perhaps it was time for them to learn that. Michael responded, "Thank you for reaching out. I am available to discuss the project. I await your response." And for the first time in 2 years, Michael felt something he did not expect to feel again. It was not anger. It was not fear. It was a smile. Cold, calm, controlled. The smile of a man who finally understood the game, and who was about to play it better than anyone. The meeting was scheduled for a Tuesday at 2 p.m. Michael arrived 15 minutes early, not from anxiety, but from strategy. He wore glasses now, well-groomed beard, different hair, neutral but professional clothes. He was no longer the Michael they knew, and they would not recognize him. He entered the building that had once been his workplace, passed through the reception where he used to greet Jennifer, the secretary. She was no longer there. He went up to the 12th floor. The conference room was the same, glass, city view, coffee and disposable cups, but now he was on the other side of the table. The door opened. The HR director entered. Michael did not recognize her. Must be new. Then, the project manager, also unknown. And finally, Robert, older, heavier, more confident, still with that smile that did not reach his eyes. Michael did not move, revealed nothing. "Welcome, Mr. Davis. Thank you for coming." Michael nodded. "My pleasure." Robert sat down, looked at Michael with the same arrogance as always. "Let us get straight to the point. We have problems. Our internal processes are chaotic, projects falling behind, dissatisfied clients. We need someone who can organize this mess." Michael listened, took notes, did not interrupt. Robert continued, "We saw your portfolio. Impressive. Have you worked with companies our size?" Michael nodded. "Yes. Some larger, actually." "Excellent. The deadline is tight. 3 months. Can you do it?" Michael looked around the room, studied each face, each expression, and then said something no one expected. Before accepting, "I need to understand the root of the problem. Do you have documented processes?" The HR director exchanged glances with the manager. "We have some, but they are outdated. And the team? How is the internal climate?" Robert frowned. "What does internal climate have to do with processes?" Michael leaned forward. "Everything. Bad processes do not appear out of nowhere. They arise from communication failures, from weak leadership, from toxic organizational culture." The silence in the room was instantaneous. Robert forced a smile. "Well, we have some challenges, but nothing we cannot solve." Michael looked directly into his eyes. "Challenges like what? Turnover? People who simply do not fit?" Michael made a note. "I see. And when these people do not fit, do you investigate why, or do you just eliminate them?" Robert became tense. "Mr. Davis, we are here to talk about processes, not corporate philosophy." Michael smiled, a small smile, controlled. "Processes are corporate philosophy, Mr. Robert. If you do not understand that, then perhaps I am not the consultant you need." He closed his notebook. "But I will make a proposal. I accept the project, with one condition." The director leaned in. "Which is total access to everything. Documents, emails, decision history, contracts. If I am going to fix the system, I need to see where it is broken. No restrictions." Robert hesitated. "That is unusual. It is my method. Take it or leave it." The room remained silent for long seconds. Finally, the director nodded. "Very well, you will have access, but you will sign a strict confidentiality agreement." Michael extended his hand. "Perfect." Robert shook his hand, and Michael felt something strange in that touch. It was not anger. It was not fear. It was control. He was back, but this time he dictated the rules. Michael spent the first 2 weeks just observing. He had access to everything: servers, emails, internal documents, and he discovered that tech vision was worse than he imagined. Fraudulent contracts, embezzlement, overpriced projects, employees being unfairly fired to cover management mistakes, and at the center of everything, Robert. Michael documented everything, meticulously, silently. But he did not just want to expose Robert. He wanted something more poetic. In the 3rd week, Michael scheduled a meeting with the entire executive committee. "I have identified the main problems, and I have solutions." He opened his presentation. Slide after slide, he showed the failures, but not as accusations, as data, charts, comparisons, financial losses, legal risks. Robert was sweating. "Mr. Davis, these numbers, where did they come from?" Michael looked at him. "From your own systems. Everything is documented and auditable." The CEO leaned forward. "Are you saying we have compliance problems?" "I am saying you have structural problems. That start with leadership." Michael clicked to the next slide, and there it was. An organizational chart, with Robert at the center, and red lines connecting each problematic decision. "You have a single point of failure, and he is in this room." Robert stood up. "This is ridiculous. You do not know what you are talking about." Michael remained calm. "Then correct me. Explain why you authorize duplicate payments to suppliers that do not exist. Explain why employees are fired without cause and replaced by personal referrals. Explain why profitable projects are sabotaged to benefit competitors. The CEO looked at Robert. Robert? Robert stammered. This is an attempt to frame me. He was hired by some competitor. He is lying. Michael opened his folder. Here is the evidence. All the evidence. Authenticated, dated, and properly categorized for an external audit. He slid the folder across the table. You can fire me now, but this information has already been sent to the legal department and to the board of directors. Automatically, 1 hour ago, the CEO opened the folder. His hands trembled. Robert went pale. You cannot do this. Michael finally stood up and took off his glasses. Robert froze. Wait. Michael smiled. Hello, Robert. It has been a while. The recognition was instantaneous and devastating. Michael Bennett? The entire room turned to look. Michael nodded. You destroyed me 2 years ago, accused me of something you did, took my career, my reputation, my life. He took a step toward Robert. But you know what I discovered? You cannot destroy what does not depend on you. You can take a job, a name, an identity, but you cannot take capability. You cannot take character. You cannot take value. Michael looked around the room. I spent 2 years rebuilding my life from scratch, without help, without pity, without excuses, and now I am here, not to get revenge, but to show all of you who I always was. He turned to the CEO. My report is complete. You have all the information you need. What you do with it is your choice, but know this company has salvation, but not with him in command. Michael picked up his folder. My work here is complete. The invoice will be sent. And he left, through the same door he had left 2 years before. But this time he was not being expelled. He was choosing to leave, with his head held high, with his dignity intact, and with the certainty that, regardless of what happened next, he had won. 3 days later, Robert was suspended. 1 week later, he was fired. 2 weeks later, he was responding to lawsuits. Michael did not follow along. He did not need to, because the justice he sought was not the destruction of Robert. It was the reconstruction of himself, and that victory but no one could take away. Michael is sitting in a cafe, the same cafe where he used to go before everything collapsed. The barista does not recognize him. He has changed so much. He orders black coffee, without sugar, and looks out the window. The city continues. People continue. Life continues. And so does he. Michael thinks about the last 2 years, about the pain, about the isolation, about the silent struggle, and he realizes something. He did not lose those years. He invested them, invested in becoming someone who cannot be broken by false accusations, by unjust systems, by small people in big positions. He invested in becoming someone who does not need to be remembered to exist, because he learned the deepest of truths. You do not need the world to see you to be real. You need to see yourself. And Michael sees himself now, clearly, completely. He is not perfect, still carries scars, still has difficult nights, but he is free. Free from the need for approval, free from the fear of being forgotten, free from dependence on systems that were never made to protect him. He built his own foundation, and no one can tear it down. The phone rings. It is Andrew, the entrepreneur. Michael, yes, you can call me that now. I heard what happened at TechVision. The story is spreading, and so is your name, your real name. People want to know who the consultant is who brought down a corrupt CEO. Michael smiles. That is not what happened, Andrew. I just showed the truth. They chose what to do with it. Either way, you are receiving offers. Many offers. Companies wanting to hire you. Interviews wanting to hear you. You are famous, man. Michael looks at his reflection in the cafe window. The man looking back is not the same one who was forgotten 2 years ago. He is someone stronger, wiser, freer. I appreciate it, Andrew, but I am not interested in being famous. Then what are you interested in, Michael thinks, in being useful, in doing work that matters, in helping people who were forgotten like I was. Silence on the other end of the line. You are a rare soul, Michael. No, I am just someone who learned what really matters. They say goodbye. Michael hangs up the phone and returns to looking out the window. Life continues, and so does he, not as the man everyone forgot, but as the man who will never forget himself again. The world can forget your name, but it can never erase the value you built when no one was watching. The end. There is a difference between being forgotten and being erased. Being forgotten is temporary. Being erased is a choice. Michael chose not to be erased, and in that choice he found not just his redemption, but his true identity. Because in the end, no one can take from you what you built in silence. And perhaps that is the greatest victory of all, not the one the world sees, but the one you feel.